Sam asks, "Good morning, Michael. I work for a pharmaceutical company that is fairly early on in its lean journey. They are struggling to properly execute standard work. Part of the challenge is that they treat it as work instructions or SOPs. Because this is a highly regulated industry, they want to put the standard worksheets in their systems as they do SOPs. And every time there is a miss, the cycle time is missed, it generates a lot of paperwork and investigations and countermeasures. This causes some sites to push back and threatens the effort to create good standard work. I'm trying to teach the organization the difference between work instructions and standard work and how properly utilize the two, and I'm reaching out to get your thoughts on the matter. What do you think is the best way to present that distinction?" Wow, that's not an easy question. It's a very good question. It's not that hard. The difficulty in the question lies in how hard the person you're trying to explain it to wants to understand. The difference is really quite simple. Job instructions are the process steps you need to know to do the job. Take this, do that. It's like the paper sheet you get when you order a piece of furniture and you try to assemble it yourself. Standard work is the information you need to do it right. I remember all the issues I faced when I last assembled a bathroom cabinet. It was a mess. Which part to take the which way up or put down, which screws to pick in all the screws, what went where, and so on. Standard work is more of a verb than a thing. It's an effort to clarify the job at hand so that all people understand how to do it in the best known way. It tells you, take this way, use those screws, and so they can harmonize their efforts in the process. Although it might make sense to capture all current standard work in a central database, this seems like a huge effort and not necessarily worth it. Standard work is a method for the supervisor to bring all her operators to understand the work in detail so they can perform it with confidence. So standard work is more of an analysis method, just instructions on a piece of paper. To do the job right, people need to understand both the necessary conditions for each step and the judgment criteria between okay and not okay. So first, you clarify the job's objectives and customer expectations. Second, you visualize the job and break it down into work elements. Each element should be a manageable step with only one decision to make. If you need 2 decisions in a job element, break it down further. Third, you verify conditions for each work element. This means checking your 4M: manpower, machine, materials, and methods needed to do this step. You make sure conditions are adapted to each person. For instance, some people are righties and some people are lefties. People are tall, some people are short. So what kind of conditions do they need to do the job right? 4, you clarify judgment criteria so there is a clear judgment whether each step has been successfully done or not. Has the job being done well until you move on to the next step. So at this step, you can document what you learn so that all can share in the right judgment criteria. This is the most important part. How do I know I've done the job right so I can feel confident to move on to the next step? And finally, 5th, you monitor how the process is being implemented and you discuss with team members on how to further correct problems and make the job easier. That's the Kaizen. I remember a Toyota plant in Japan and the supervisor showing off a book with each job element broken down in slices of 2 seconds. Can you imagine that? Now, clearly, that makes sense for a product with a cycle time of less than a minute and not for something that takes longer to do. But you get the idea. Standard work is the process of getting agreement with a team of the best known way to do the job locally, not from engineering, just here and now, from then on, and then to improve. Job instructions or SOPs are the starting point, the key input from engineering in doing so, but the process is all about achieving the right quality in the right time to remove obstacles so it flows smooth and seamless. To be satisfied with their work, people need to feel confident that they're doing a good job. Standard work is a teaching and improving process for the supervisor to include team members in better understanding the work and doing the job right first time, every time, with confidence. So it's a process. It's never a finished state. And as such, it all depends on how much the supervisor wants to help her team achieve good work, or if she is satisfied with minimum performance and catching defects later on in inspection. So the key difference between standard work and job instructions is the Kaizen attitude of shop floor management. I hope that helps. I know it's a difficult one, and I know everybody struggles with it because it's not about the pieces of paper themselves. It's really about the attitude to help operators to work in a smooth and seamless way, and then to look for opportunities to make always the job easier. It's this attitude that makes a difference between work instructions and standard work.